2, 1.
Hello, my name is Irina Kaplan, and I'm a local artist, and I work in watercolor. And when my paintings go to the shows, I tend to get two questions. The first one usually is, this is not watercolor. It cannot be, this is not how it's done. But when I explain how it's done, the second question is, then why are you not painting in oil? So I will try to address both today. So it is watercolor, and I use just one manufacturer. It's called Core Watercolor, made in Cooperstown by Golden, by the company Golden, and they make a lot of different paints. They make Williamstown oil paints, and now they acquired pen pastels, but they also make watercolors. And the difference of their colors is that they use a different binder. It's called Aquazol. So if you use any kind of watercolors before and you switch to Core, you will be, at least my first impression was, my goodness, it's like butter. It's very buttery when you use it. It's also very bright. And to achieve the brightness and the saturation of color, I use tens or probably hundreds of layers of transparent watercolors. Aquazol stands extremely well to time, to temperature, to elements. It doesn't get yellow over time, so I love it. The second thing that I do is I do not paint on paper. I use aquaboard. And aquaboard is a museum quality masonite board with kaolin clay on top. It's manufactured in Texas by the company called Ampersand. And they make a lot of different boards for a lot of different kinds of medium. But with aquaboard, I can move paint, I can wash it off, I can scrape it in certain places where I need to. And I do not need to use glass for protection. So I just spray with the fixative after I'm done, and that's it. You can touch it, and it's extremely durable. So this is what I do, and this is my process. Why I do not use oils? Last year I went to a boot camp for artists in Spain, and they required everybody to bring oils. And I explained to them that I only work in watercolor, and they said, well, we still should. So I found a compromise. I found water-soluble oils, and this is what I tried for the first time. And what I realized was that, to me, in a sense, it was much easier to paint in oil because with one stroke you get the intensity you want. But at the same time, I think watercolor gives you something very different that oil can't. And also watercolor is very clean, right? I don't need to struggle to wash the brushes. I don't need to smell turpentine, though there are non-smelling substances nowadays, but nevertheless. So at this stage of my life, I came to the conclusion that watercolor is my medium, and I'm going to stick with it. Do you have any questions for me?
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Irina, how do you get an inspiration for a piece? Because I know you do beautiful portraits, you do beautiful still life. I mean, what's your inspiration?
I think there are two different approaches, especially with portraits. Sometimes I see a person and it's just this immediate rush, oh, this is the painting right there. And years ago I was very shy to approach strangers, and now I'm not. For example, I just returned from vacation in Croatia, and one day we had a server at the restaurant, and I was looking up at him as he was taking our orders, and I thought, that's a painting. So I asked his permission to take photos, and that's going to be one of my next paintings. And with still life, I love going to antique shops, and I find things that maybe don't attract anybody else, but to me they're very precious. For example, when I saw that those binoculars with all the skin peeling off, I was just in awe. So this is how inspiration happens. Then with the still life, I usually set things up in my basement. I have like a whole photo studio with a lot of different materials and things, and I take photos. And then I paint.
How large is your studio?
It's just one room in the house. I was fortunate enough that somebody put special lighting on top, and I have several sizes of easels, and so it's all there. It's very easy for me to come home from work and just sit and paint.
Do you go out in plein air paint?
I do not.
You do not?
It's
That's
just
tough.
not my thing. I
Yeah.
have to be by myself. I don't even listen to the music when I paint. It's just
Okay.
peace and quiet.
Very good.
Do you feel like your style is developing differently, or that you feel like going different directions? I know you showed me another artist once that was very different that you took inspiration from, but you don't paint like that.
I don't. When I started painting in watercolor 4.5 years ago, I asked a woman who became my mentor, who's a very famous watercolor artist, Kavanaugh. I asked her, how do I find my voice? And she said, just paint. And I thought that's such a silly advice. It makes no sense. It does. So what I realized that I gravitate to very direct forms. I don't like, a lot of people who work in watercolor, they use the ability of the medium to create puddles and blooms, and I don't gravitate to that at all. But I like details, and I have to, stuff as many details as I can in a painting. It's just the way my brain works.
So you started 4.5 years ago?
Yeah.
Wow. Kudos.
Yeah, right.
It's all
You
it's
weren't doing art at
beautiful.
all before that?
No, I'm self-taught. I used to draw since I was a kid, just with a pencil or maybe ink.
You
I-
draw these first?
I always draw with a pencil, and then I paint.
You on top of the pencil drawing?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a drawing first,
Oh, yeah,
and then,
yeah.
okay.
How long do you have to wait between putting on the next layer? Like you said, you paint these layers.
It dries up very quickly. So if I was working here and I put a layer, I would move here for a minute or two, and then I can come back.
That's nice.
That's very good.
Who are the artists that you follow?
There is an artist in Turkey, her name is Rukiye Garip, and she mostly paints nature. She's actually one of the world famous watercolor artists. One of her pieces is going to Sotheby's next month, actually, because it got the first place in the ARC competition last year. I'm following her. She's a good friend now. Kavanaugh, who is absolutely incredible. She lives near St. Louis, Missouri. She paints portraits, and she was one of the, I think she was the first person actually who discovered aquaboard and who started painting on aquaboard. Yeah, her portraits are unforgettable. Yeah, she's my mentor. She's a very good friend. But even now, when I see each of her work, I just get this gasp. Yeah, she's very special. And this is in terms of watercolor artists.
So what inspired you to just start painting?
I always loved drawing since I was a kid, and at some point when I was in high school, but also since I was very little, I wanted to become a physician. And when I was in high school, I talked to my grandma and I said, maybe I should become an artist. And she said, if you become a doctor, you can always be an artist, but not the other way around.
Listen to Greg.
Great advice.
So I decided to follow her advice, and this is what I did. And then
Okay.
so many events in my life and immigration and all of that, there was never time for me to paint. And about 4.5 or 5 years ago, one of my friends asked me, why would you paint something handy? And I said, I don't know, so I'll try.
Sure.
And then I saw Rukia paintings, Rukia Garab's paintings, and I was like, this is a miracle. How is she doing it? So I bought watercolors and started trying.
Wonderful.
That's great.
Any other questions? Thanks, Irina.
Thank you.